Welcome to a presentation entitled African American Arrangers and Singers, presented by voice majors and minors from the music department at UWGB. My name is Jenna Peterson, and I am a junior majoring in business administration with a music studies minor. I would like to thank accompanist Grant Colburn and Beth Scholes for their help and support in making these recordings possible. The legacy of African American composers, arrangers, and singers is very strong in the United States, but they have often been overlooked, and many of their names are little known. The melodies of the spirituals likewise possess the haunting beauty that has simplicity as its handmaid. Today, I will start by talking about Moses Hogan. Moses Hogan was born in New Orleans, Louisiana in 1957. Hogan was influenced by his upbringing in the African American Baptist Church, as well as the unaccompanied spiritual arrangements he had heard there. Moses Hogan began arranging choral music and created the New World Ensemble in 1980. Over the years, Moses was commissioned to work with television companies and became the editor of the New Oxford Book of Spirituals. Hogan has over 70 published works, and the arrangements have become known by community and professional choirs worldwide. Here is one of his arrangements, Let Us Break Bread Together. Let us break bread together on our knees. Let us break bread together on our knees. When I fall on my knees with my face to the rising sun, oh Lord, have mercy on me. Let us drink wine together on our knees. Let us drink wine together on our knees. When I fall on my knees with my face to the rising sun, oh Lord, have mercy on me. Let us praise God together on our knees. Let us praise God together on our knees. When I fall down on my knees with my face to the rising sun, oh Lord, have mercy on me.
Hello, my name is Jaren Holloway. I'm a music education major here. I'm a sophomore, and I just wanted to share some great African American male classical singers with you. Um, Simon Estes, he was an operatic bass baritone who had an amazing international opera career in the 1960s. He helped open doors for many people as he was part of the first generation of black opera singers to achieve large-scale success and help break down a lot of the racial prejudice in the opera world. And then another one would be William Warfield. He was an American concert bass baritone who was on Broadway and operas as early as 1948. His breakthrough was when he had a recital at New York's Town Hall. This led him to release a couple of highly acclaimed albums. And then Paul Robeson was another great African-American bass baritone who was known for many shows, political advocacy, and being in the NFL. He fought for civil rights, spoke out against American foreign policy, got his law degree from Columbia, was an active member of the Council on African Affairs, wrote a political periodical, was a key figure in the Harlem Renaissance while acting, was in countless musicals, recorded 276 songs, was added to the College Football Hall of Fame, and spent 2 years in the NFL. This is in between 1910 and 1960, and he is one of the most accomplished and interesting people I've heard of. And then Willard White was a great Jamaican-born British operatic bass baritone. He won a Grammy for the first stereo recording of Porgy and Bess and was also knighted. Um, and then, so we are all doing spirituals here today, and so spirituals are one of the great forms of American music. They're a great example of a blend of European and West African culture. They came to be during the Great Awakening when Black Americans placed a larger emphasis on rhythm within traditional Christian hymns, creating what we know as spirituals. One of the most well-known spirituals is Deep River. It is an anonymous spiritual that was first mentioned in print in 1876 in the book of the Story of the Jubilee Singers with their songs by J.B.T. Marsh. It has been performed countless times, such as by Mahalia Jackson, Barbra Streisand, and even on National Lampoon. The song has such a strong sense of longing, but there's a hope to come as well. Today I'll be performing Deep River, arranged by Mogus Hogan. Deep river, my home is over Jordan. Deep river, Lord, I want to cross over into campground. Deep river, my home is over Jordan. Deep river, Lord, I want to cross over into campground. Oh, don't you want to go up to that gospel feast, that promised land, where all is peace. Deep river, Lord, I want to cross over into campground.
Hi everyone, my name is Danielle Bagwell and I'm a sophomore here at GB. I'm a music education major and today I will be talking about some famous African American classical female singers. First I'm going to talk about Marion Anderson. She was an American contralto and she performed a wide range of music from operas to spirituals, and she was the first African American to sing at the Metropolitan Opera in New York City. Anderson performed with renowned orchestras in major concert and recital venues throughout the United States and even Europe. But when she tried to book a concert in Washington, D.C. in 1939, she was turned away. Washington's Constitutional Hall was the only venue large enough to hold her concert, but the Daughters of the American Revolution, or the DAR, refused to let her perform there, telling her there were no dates available. It quickly became apparent that they were still booking the hall for white performers. After she was turned away, First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt, who was on the board of the DAR, learned the story and she was outraged, especially since Anderson had performed at the White House a few months before. Marion Anderson performed on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial after being refused the largest indoor stage in Washington because she was Black. It was a remarkable moment in civil rights and U.S. history. Next, I'm talking about Kathleen Battle. She's an American operatic soprano known for her distinctive vocal range and tone. She initially became known for her work within the concert repertoire through performances with major orchestras during and in the early and mid-1970s. She made her opera debut in 1975. Battle expanded her repertoire into different soprano roles during the 1980s and early 1990s, until her eventual dismissal from the Metropolitan Opera in 1994. She later has focused on recording and the concert stage, and after a 22-year absence from the Met, Battle performed a concert of spirituals there in November 2016. Lastly, Leontyne Price is an American soprano. She was born and raised in Mississippi, and she rose to the international acclaim in the 1950s and 60s. She's a leading performer in the Metropolitan Opera and one of the most popular American classical singers of her generation. She was the first African American singer at La Scala Opera House in Italy, and my favorite quote from her is, "Accomplishments have no color." Today, I will be singing Joshua Fit the Battle of Jericho. It's a traditional spiritual by Mark Hayes. A little information about Hayes: he was actually born in Ladysmith, Wisconsin. After receiving a bachelor's degree in piano and performance, he entered a career in composing and arranging music. This song's lyrics reference a story in the book of Joshua in the Bible. The piece was most likely composed on the fly by slaves, and the mention in the song, "To the walls come tumbling down," is a metaphor for escaping from slavery. So I hope you enjoy. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho, Jericho, Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho, and the walls came tumbling down. You may talk about your man of Gideon, you may talk about your man of Saul. There's none like good old Joshua at the battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho, Jericho, Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho, and the walls came tumbling down. Up to the walls of Jericho, he marched with a spear in hand. Go blow them ram's horns, Joshua cried, 'cause the battle is in my hand. Then the ramship horns begin to blow, the trumpets begin to sound. Joshua commanded the children to shout, and the walls came tumbling down. Oh, Joshua fit the battle of Jericho, Jericho, Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho, and the walls came tumbling down. Oh, Joshua, Jericho, Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho, and the walls came tumbling down. And the walls came tumbling down. And the walls come tumbling down. Walls came tumbling down.
Hello, my name is Alexia Paulzine, and I am a junior here at UWGB. My major is elementary education with a minor in music studies. Today I wanted to share some information with you about the famed blues and jazz singer Billie Holiday. Everything that I have sourced today is from biography.com. So, Billie Holiday was a woman jazz and swing singer. She was born on April 7th of 1915 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Billie had a very difficult childhood. She was mainly raised by her grandmother because her mother often took on what we know as transportation jobs. So she was serving on passenger railroads at the time. Because of her mother's absence, Billie suffered. She often skipped school, and as a result of that, she ended up dropping out of school at the age of 11. Later, she joined her mother in Harlem, New York, and within days of arriving, Billie's mother became a prostitute, and Billie, not yet 14, became a victim of sexual trafficking. As a young teenager, Billie sang in nightclubs in Harlem. Doing so, her reputation grew. During this time, she connected with her father. When she was 17 years old, she replaced a singer at a club, and a producer came across her. The producer arranged for Billie to make her recording debut at age 18. She then recorded 2 songs. The producer was impressed by her singing and stated, "Her singing almost changed my music tastes and my musical life because she was the first girl singer I'd come across who'd actually sang like an improvising jazz genius." Later in her life, she began drinking, using drugs, and unfortunately having relationships with abusive men that caused her health to deteriorate. Her later recordings showed the effects of declining health in her voice. Due to this, she was diagnosed with liver and heart disease, and she later died of heart failure. When Billie Holiday died, she was voted to the Downbeat Hall of Fame, and throughout her life, she was nominated for 23 Grammy Awards. In 1985, there was a statue of her made in Baltimore that was inspired by her song Strange Fruit. Overall, Billie Holiday laid the groundwork for women in jazz and has inspired me to sing this song. I have always enjoyed listening to her work, and I'm excited to show you this song. Therefore, here is Long Gone Blues by Billie Holiday.
Baby, what's the matter now? Hello, my name is Destiny Kadelko. I'm a third-year music major with a minor in education, and today I will be performing as well as talking about Strange Fruit by Billie Holiday. All of the information that I'm going to be using is from the tragic story behind Billie Holiday's Strange Fruit from biography.com. In March 1939, a 23-year-old Billie Holiday walked up to the mic at West 4th's Cafe Society in New York City to sing her final song of the night. Per her request, the waiters stopped serving, and the room went completely black, save for a spotlight on her face. When Holiday finished, the spotlight turned off. When the lights came back on, the stage was empty, and she was gone. And per her request, there was no encore. This was how Holiday performed Strange Fruit, which she would sing for the next 20 years until her untimely death at the age of 44. It isn't uncommon knowledge that the song wasn't Holiday's, but she's the one who made it what it is today. She was the one who sang it and let it ring in the ears for those who couldn't stand it. She's the reason I choose to sing it today. Holiday may have popularized Strange Fruit and turned it into a work of art, but it was a Jewish communist teacher and civil rights activist from the Bronx, Abel Meeropol, who wrote it first as a poem and then later as a song. The poem begins. Southern trees bear a strange fruit, blood on the leaves and blood at the root. Black body swinging in the southern breeze, strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees. His inspiration? Meeropol came across a 1930 photo that captured the lynching of 2 black men in Indiana. The visceral image haunted him for days and prompted him to put pen to paper. After he published Strange Fruit in a teachers' union publication, Meeropol composed it into a song and passed it on to a nightclub owner, who then introduced it to Holiday. The poem continues. Pastoral scene of the gallant South, the bulging eyes and the twisted mouth, scent of magnolia, sweet and fresh, and the sudden smell of burning flesh. While civil rights activists in Black America embraced Strange Fruit, the nightclub scene, which was primarily composed of white patrons, had mixed reactions. At witnessing Holiday's performance, audience members would applaud until their hands hurt, while those less sympathetic would bitterly walk out the door. One individual who was determined to silence Holiday was Federal Bureau of Narcotics Commissioner Harry Anslinger. A known racist, Anslinger believed that drugs caused Black people to overstep their boundaries in American society, and that Black jazz singers, who smoked marijuana, created the devil's music. The poem ends. Here is a fruit for the crows to pluck, for the rain to gather, for the wind to suck, for the sun to rot, for a tree to drop. Here is a strange and bitter crop. Despite her tragic demise, Holiday has a lasting legacy in the world of jazz and pop music. She garnered 23 Grammys after her passing and was recently inducted into the National Rhythm and Blues Hall of Fame. Among the many songs that Holiday is celebrated for, Strange Fruit will always be one of her defining works. It allowed her to take what was originally an expression of political protest and transform it into a work of art for millions to hear. In 1999, Time designated Strange Fruit the song of the century. And now I will perform Strange Fruit by Billie Holiday. Southern trees bear a strange fruit, blood on the leaves and blood at the root, black bodies swinging in the southern breeze, strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees. Ooh. eyes and the twisted mouth, scent of magnolia sweet and fresh, and the sudden smell of burning flesh. Here is a fruit for the crows to pluck, for the rain to gather, for the wind to suck, for the sun to rot, for a tree to drop. Ooh, here is a strange and bitter crop. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Aigul Garriva, and it's my second year here at UWGB. I'm majoring in vocal performance, and I would like to talk about Margaret Bones. She was an American composer, pianist, arranger, and teacher, one of the first Black composers and performers to gain recognition in the United States. She was born in Chicago, Illinois on March 3, 1913. Her father, Dr. Monroe Alpheus Majors, was an active force in the civil rights movement as a physician and writer. Her mother, Estes C. Bones, was a church musician. After her parents' divorce, she grew up living with her mother, and their home was visited by many of the leading Black musicians of that era, like soprano Abby Mitchell and composers Florence Price and Will Marion Cook. Margaret Bones composed her first work at the age of 5, and her first music teacher was her mother. She continued taking piano lessons with composer Florence Price, and at the age of 16 she began her studies at the Northwestern University and gained both a bachelor's and master's degree in piano and composition. She performed with Chicago Symphony Orchestra, and she was the first Black person to do so, and after graduation she continued to teach and compose, and she also edited music for a living. She was part of or directed herself a lot of communities for Black performers and musicians and supported their potential, and she taught art and music. She did a lot to promote Black musicians, and her own compositions and lyrics addressed racial issues. She connected her father's political activism with her mother's musicianship in her works. She is well known for arrangements of African American spirituals as He's Got the Whole World in His Hand, which I'm going to perform. He's got the whole world in his hand. 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 He's got the woods and the waters in his hand. He's got the woods and the waters in his hand. He's got the sun and the moon right in his hand. He's got the whole world in his hand. He's got the birds and the bees right in his hand. He's got the birds and the bees right in his hand. He's got the beasts of the field right in his hand. He's got the whole world